Good morning. I hope you all slept well. So, couple of things. Good news, bad news. Good news is you did really well on your test yesterday. And so, which I'm glad, I hope was a good experience because that's how most of our tests will be. I really like it being there. You get to find out your grades. I can go back and change a few things like on those multiple choice or the matching, just so you know, and you'll experience this today with your quiz. Anything matching, it grades as like an all or none. And I can go back and be like, no, they got 7 out of the 10, and I can give you your credit back. So don't ever forget that or freak out about that, especially like your quiz today is going to be matching. And if you miss one, it's going to mark all of it wrong. So don't freak out that you got a 15 or like a 0 on your quiz, because I always go back and double check things. I never like technology is wonderful, but technology is not perfect. So I always go back and double check technology things, especially these assignments online. And if you're not sure, if you're like, I really think I should have got that one right, or, let me know. I know in the hotspot one, you might have clicked just outside the boxed area, and I went back and gave you credit, stuff like that. So, or if you clicked the line instead of the body part, I went back and gave you credit. So definitely read the instructions because that'll help. But don't freak out if it does everything wrong. So anyway, good news, your test was really good yesterday, which I'm really glad because, we've been doing everything online, and so I don't really get as much of a feel for how you're doing as I do in person. So I'm glad your test went well. Here's your bad news. Is that your easiest test we take? So I'm glad you did well, and it starts you off on a good spot for the semester. But this next one, you guys always ask me what's the hardest test. To me, this next one's the hardest. And I'm telling you now so you can prepare for that. As our next unit is cells and tissues. And I think you struggle for a couple of reasons. One, the first test was super easy, and you're like, oh, I got this. I don't have to study so much like you do on the first test. Two, I think you take it for granted. You're like, oh, I've done cells. I've done diffusion. I've done this before, which you have. It's just been a long time, so you probably don't remember it in detail. And three, it's not the most exciting thing. It's cells, it's tissue, it's super small. Like, it's not the big exciting dissection things. It's super tiny, and you're like, ugh, whatever. But this is really the foundation of everything we do. Like, your entire respiratory system is there just so you can get that oxygen and send it to all the teeny, teeny, tiny cells of your body. And they can use that oxygen to make ATP, right? Your entire digestive system is there so that on a cellular level, you can use those nutrients, those proteins, those carbs. So even though the big systems and their organs are much more exciting, I know they are for me, but the cells and the tissues, like, that's really where all the action is happening and where it's all taking place. Like I said, cells, diffusion, cell transport, you've done that before. It's just been a long time. So we're going to start there and do some reviewing for a few days of those. And then we're doing tissues, which you've never done tissues before. Like, you know that cells make tissues, tissues make organs, but you've never looked at the different types of tissues and the difference between stratified squamous epithelium and dense connective tissue. Like, I didn't just make up words. Those are real things we'll talk about. So there's a lot of stuff here. So my number one tip, do this, is to study a little bit every day. One of my favorite sayings is, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Same thing. This is a lot of stuff. So if you eat it one chunk at a time every day, study 20 minutes each day. 20 minutes, that's not very long. Like, that's a 30-minute TV show, and mute the commercial. I mean, just break it into small pieces, because if you try to cram this the night before, you will fail. I'm going to tell you now. So you've been warned. Your test is not until September 11th. So we've definitely got a lot of time and a lot to cover, though. So start studying a little each day. Okay, so that's where we are moving forward. And so I'm going to switch and show you, what we're doing today, what you have coming up. So let me share my screen. So here's what it looks like for you. I move things around a little bit. Don't forget to do this attendance, especially on days when I don't see you, so that, because that really, I'm going to help you out, and we'll probably meet like Monday, Wednesday, Friday next week. But then after that, I get to see you in person, so that's cool. So, but don't forget to do this. I'll probably minimize this to get it out of the way a little. So here's those suffixes if you need them. I also put them in your Google Teams, so you always have them. Here's the copy of our meetings each day. So if you're absent or you forget what I said, you can go back to it. So we're starting cells and tissues. So today is what we're doing here for August 28th. So when you click on cells, we're going to do part 1 and 2 today. So here's your notes. I'm trying to put them in a Google Doc so you can save a copy and fill them in, and you have a copy for yourself versus the PDF that just gets sent in. So here's the fill in the blank version. Here's your PowerPoint. And then I also, again, made videos. So here's a video for part 1. Here's a video for part 2. I only want you to do parts 1 and 2 today. Okay, smaller pieces. Only do parts 1 and 2 today. And then here's an extra video if you want some extra explaining. And then your assignment is going to be using that information. You're going to do these specialized cells, which looks like this. And basically, you're telling me, like, what is unique about a phagocyte? Like, what organelles does it have that helps it to do its job? Because we're going back to cells and going to talk, your cell membrane, that plasma membrane, those different organelles, ribosomes, mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, all of those kinds of things. So what is it? Because remember, we've talked that structure goes with function. So my phagocyte is going to have different structures than a red blood cell, than the rods in your eye, because they have different functions. So on a cellular level, what's unique to them? Okay, that's your assignment for today. You can see it's due on Monday. And then just to kind of finish out cells, I'll go ahead and show you. Monday, here's the video to finish out your notes, and then the activity for Monday. Okay, so, and then that's just kind of giving you play-by-play of where we're going. And again, you can see all of that in here. Here's day by day what we are doing every single day and when your test is. Okay, all right, so that's classwork. Don't forget, you also have your prefix and suffix quiz. So if you scroll under that, is you get to, and I'll minimize that guy, your quizzes. And so quiz 1, right? It is timed because you should know these words. So it'll be matching. So see, you get 15 minutes, which should be plenty of time. Like if you know your words, that should be enough time. So your access code is 1, O-N-E, right? So like the number 1, spell it out, but use a capital O. So capital O, lowercase n, lowercase e, okay? That's your password for your quiz today, all right? And that is it for me. So if you have any questions, anything you want to ask me, your tests are, and I think everything's posted in the Skyward because I try to get all your grades updated quickly. If you want to know what you missed, let me know and I can help you out. Otherwise, good luck on your quiz, and I will see you Monday. Or hang out and I'll answer questions.